Why do you scream at me? Why do you think that it's free? It's not a choice made by me. Once we fall, soon you'll see. When I looked into your eyes, I can see we need to change our lives. Let me in, then we both win. But not knowing that you're killing me. This silence is building, tearing me fearfully. This silence is building, tearing me. I'm screaming.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Sunday night hanging right here on, well, Sundays, because that's the way it works in life. I'm Ben. If you're new, please subscribe. And of course, if you're returning, welcome back. Tonight, I'm hanging with a new virtual friend that I came across some time ago. And I got to have this guy on. And then I talked about it for about 3 months. And then I finally remembered to email the chap. And he said, let's do it. Welcome, Doc Rivers of River Docs.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. Doggone it. It's just so nice to be here. You know, I'm looking forward to it. We can talk about anything and everything, whatever you want to. I'm sitting here still trying to figure this software out a little bit. I don't see anybody.
On the right-hand side, you can toggle between comments and private.
See. Boy, that was real simple. Thanks for helping me.
I swear a musician designed the software. You know, they're like, we know you're used to tubes, and you know they try to keep it simple for us.
This is very simple, very easy to work, and I can even see it with my eyes, and that's a good thing too.
Right. Let's see, who do we have in the chat here? I'm going to give some shout out. First one, here's a familiar name for you, Ferd Burfel, because I see him commenting on all your videos.
Yeah, old Ferd. How you doing, Ferd?
Great to see Ferd Burfel here. John Duchesne, Paul McNary, Terry's 3Gs, Jeff K, Hip Metalworks, L Barge, Charles 75N. Let's see, John Duchesne, Terry's 3Gs, Tim Thomas. Good to see you. Graphite and Cigars. We got Martin from L&M Guitar Corner. Tim Thomas, iRock Zed Blues. Dennis Ellis, OU812. Christopher Live Sala, Dave Chase. Great to see you guys in here. BC Rich 581 reporting in from beautiful Maryland. Hopefully got your car fixed. Mark Severson, good to see you. Unfucking believable because we're more than a minute in. Perfect. Mr. Anderson 59, Dan of New Jersey. Gretch Zeppelin, John Landino, Doug Santinello, Billy Baloney, Thomas Santiago. Great to see Thomas. Richard Nagamitsu, Marcia Murray. We got all kinds of people in here.
Dude, got a whole load of them.
Guitar Man 45. Yeah. Michael Kraus. And anyone I missed. There's Symmetry. Great to see you. So, yes, Mark's Gas Station. Wow, 57 it jumped up to. Nice crowd. So if you got any questions for either of us regarding maybe some of your favorite bands, guitars, guitar players, chat is flying. Yes. I have a few guitar players that I've thought of to throw towards you of possible video ideas. I'm going to get into in a little bit, but I want to say how I came across your channel. And I believe it was one of those, I don't know if they call it clickbait, but a video came up and it said, "Who is Elwood?"
Oh.
And I went, exactly. Who is Elwood?
Yeah, I did that off the top of my head. It was one of the first videos I did. I was talking with some people on Facebook, and they're saying, "Who's this Elwood? Where did he come from?" I said, "He'd been with Top for a long time." I said, "Look on YouTube." I said, "He was a guitar tech." I said, "He'd done a few, he had done a few videos on there. I knew he was. I didn't know how much he played or whatever." And so I started looking for some information on him just for myself, and I'm going, boy, there isn't much on it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I had was not that I said, you know, I've been wanting to do videos anyway. Like I told you, during the pandemic, I quit playing and things. And I just put it together. I said, you know, Elwood Francis, because that's what everybody said. Elwood Francis. Who's Elwood Francis? Well, that's who he is. And boy, the people just love that darn video. Hey,
I think I was doing a search because people were asking me in my chat, you know, who's this Elwood guy that's playing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll do a search, and I came up with a handful of 2-minute videos, and then yours. I'm like, perfect. This looks definitive.
Yeah, that's it. I'll show you something real quick. What that got me. Be right back.
What's up, Mayhem? Great to see you. Surf Bee's in here. Zach Thong, good to see you. Rock Daddy. Damage.
Oh, yeah, I'm back. I had to get, you know, it's funny you talked about Elwood. Everything I got, I told you, is piled up over on the other side. This is the studio part of my room.
Yeah, nobody wants to see the fourth wall. That's for sure, right?
Yeah.
I'm just as bad. This is chaos.
If you just look to my left, there's another computer that sits over there that I actually work off of. And the desktop did. It's a mess. Anyway, well, when I found out about Elwood, you know, it was pretty wild. You know, he played punk, you know, and he started in Kentucky playing punk rock and everything. Well, I get this email from a guy, and he said, man, I want to thank you for mentioning the Mighty Skullhead, which was Elwood's punk rock group. He still plays with them off and on.
Right.
And he's from here in Florida too. His name's, he goes by Parker. He plays down in Key West. And Parker was nice enough to send me, and these was recorded. I don't know if can I get the glare off?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there they go. The Mighty Skullhead. Yeah, I got that one. And this one, he's got Elwood playing guitar on him. I don't know if I can get that glare off or not. How's that? But either way, this one, they was recorded in Billy Gibbons' studio from ZZ Top. And Parker said, just give me your address, man. I want to send you something. I want you to have them. I said, all right. So I haven't played them or anything like that. But
awesome.
They're pretty cool. I set them up along with everything else I got in here, you know. I think these was on a music stand.
Sure.
A bunch of lyrics and stuff that was wrote out.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah. But that Elwood video did really well. A lot of people enjoyed it, you know. I think it's got over 600,000 views on it now.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's been going for a year. Some of them take off. Some of them don't do anything. You know, it just depends on YouTube.
Yep.
You know
that's true.
Yeah,
that is true. I'm seeing a few recommendations in here already for videos, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
I'm seeing someone mentioned Gary Moore.
Gary Moore, yeah.
Sure. What's another one there? Dennis Ellis says, I was just talking about Elwood just a day or so ago.
Yeah.
Unbelievable says Sean Lane, Glenn Proudfoot, Alex Lifeson, David Gilmour, Ben Coombs. Well, you don't need to do me.
You don't need to do me.
No.
Well, I've got videos. They're kind of lined up right now. I got some of them completed. I don't run ahead or anything like that. And I also kind of go by what's trending. I'll check out Google Trends. And
sure.
I can see what usually will go and what don't. And for right now, until I get my subscriber count up, I try a little bit to follow the trends to keep YouTube pushing me, because if you don't let YouTube keep pushing you, you'll go down to the bottom, and then nobody will see your video.
It's like you're trying to get a band off the ground, and you got an okay manager that kind of helps you here and there, but not always. And
right on. It sure does.
Hey, Holly.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with the people here. If I could find a way to make that screen and put it in a dark mode, I'd be a whole lot better off.
That I'm not sure on. Jonathan McCullough is here out of England. Nice. Steve, someone mentioned Steve Marriott. Steve
Marriott's on my list, and I just seen somebody say Johnny Winter. That means you haven't looked at my channel.
That's right.
Yeah, Johnny Winter's on there.
Well, there's my cousin Doug tuning in from the Dominican Republic to give us more of a global audience.
Dominican Republic, I'll be darned.
Yeah,
I like that. I used to go to Jamaica all the time.
Nice.
I love
Thomas
Jamaica.
Santiago is back. Melon Husk is here. Wow, got a good sized crowd. Awesome. Well, I was thinking of a handful of guys, and I don't know, you've already possibly touched on them, but have you done a dedicated video on Ronnie Wood?
I haven't done any video on any of the Rolling Stones yet. The Rolling Stones or Zeppelin or Clapton or Jimi Hendrix yet.
Okay.
All of them. I try, if I would do a Rolling Stone video, it probably would be Ronnie Wood and not Keith Richards. I try to stay away. It's a fine line to do videos that people will watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can do a video that somebody likes, like Steve Marriott was one I was thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure how good it will go. And it don't matter to me. You know, I'm not into this just for the money. That's I do it because I want to do it.
Sure.
You know? And I want some of these people, like if you look back on my page, there's a guy on there named Danny Gatton. I'm sure there's a lot of people here that's never even heard of Danny Gatton. But
I'm going to say the opposite. I'm going to say almost everybody in my chat has heard of Danny Gatton.
Now, maybe so. I don't know. But
and to see that, and I was thinking that when you're saying like certain, say, guitar players, you're going to have that the public will watch this guy. Like, let's say Don Felder.
Yeah.
The public is going to tune into Don Felder, but all the guitar players are tuning into Danny Gatton.
Yeah, exactly. It goes like, well, and here's the funny thing. I've got a video out there right now of Don Felder. It's probably close to, I don't know, I can't look it up, but probably close to 200,000 views. Okay. I got a video of Stevie Ray Vaughan that's probably got 3,000. Nobody's watched it. It's not because, sometimes it's not because the people don't like it. Like Johnny Winter. Johnny Winter's got over 100,000 views. Billy Gibbons, close to 200,000 views. Stevie Ray Vaughan, nothing. Videos are the same quality, just my old drab voice, just talking as slow as I always do. But what it is, YouTube don't pick up. If somebody goes in and watches it and then they don't watch another one or something, the algorithm don't pick up on it, so it don't recommend it to other people.
Right.
It's got to get picked up. Yeah, I see. Danny Gatton was amazing. He was something else, and I'm not much of a guitar player actually, but yeah, Danny Gatton. You know, I did one on Derek St. Holmes, and he's a name a lot of people didn't hear. You know, he played second guitar, but he was the lead singer for Ted Nugent in the early through the 70s, and he still gets with him today. They just played down in Florida today. You know, here in 2023. And I was really surprised at the amount of people that actually watched the video that knew who he was and had added really good comments to the video. You know, other points of interest. You know, like I can't cover it all.
And I was just thinking that I'm wondering, like, if you get a bunch of comments on a video of stuff that you either didn't know or didn't cover, that almost allows for a part 2 in some ways. And because you think, well, obviously people want to hear these things or feel the need to say these things.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it does leave it. I've got enough material probably to do. I try to get one video a week out. That's all the time I really have, because I do have family and I am retired. I am in Florida. It's warm down here and I like to fish. And you can see I got sunburns on my face from this weekend. You can see where my glasses was.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
And I do like to get out. So I can't spend that much time. It usually, a video take me about 12 hours to do by the time I do the research and get it. You know, I don't copy nothing word for word, and I don't read a lot of stuff word for word. I just talk. I just go through the notes. The music, I hardly ever use any music from them because of copyright, because it'll get flagged as soon as I put it up. Then I have to take the video down and redo the music, and it's really a pain in the butt. So I don't even try to do it no more. And the pictures and video clips, it just depends. Sometimes they won't even let a 3-second video clip go.
Right.
You know, I had some guy come on, he started really eating my ass out on the Gary Rossington video.
Oh yeah.
He said, well, you this video is no good. I don't like it. He said, you didn't have him. You should at least let him play Freebird on it. I'm going, yeah, right. I said, I'm lucky I can mention the Freebird name.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know, I mean, all I'd have had to have is 2 notes of Freebird, and they'd have flagged it and pulled it down.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then
you're lucky if you can get away with a deep track that they may not care as much. But something like Freebird, they've got every bot out there checking for Freebird at all times.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can do it. Like I said, I used to do live videos on Facebook back during the pandemic, and if I would do a song or something, like I would anything Eagles, the audio would just automatically cut out. They just cut the audio out. You know, and YouTube, they're pretty strict, but you have to remember, you know, Facebook wasn't paying money. YouTube is paying money. There's advertisers paying to keep this thing going, and they want videos out there that they don't have to flag. You know, that's what they look for, because they make, you know, YouTube makes a lot of money. They really do. And
Metalhead Hippie. Good to see you, man.
Metalhead Hippie.
Out of Alaska.
Alaska. Boy, I'll tell you. Danny Gatton, think of the major minor chords. Danny Gatton could play a handful of chords. Danny Gatton's tied for second place for me as a favorite guitar.
Mayhem says this video got demonetized because we both said Freebird twice.
Yeah. Jeff Beck, yep.
Yeah, it's just certain artists you don't play on YouTube, and the Eagles is one. Prince, don't touch any Prince stuff.
No, I'm trying to think of another one that they'll flag in a heartbeat.
Cheap Trick.
No, that's one. But
if you play the opening chord to Surrender, that's all it takes is that opening chord.
Now, you know what's funny? I got a video out there on Mark Farner from Grand Funk. Go watch it. Watch the opening. That's really Grand Funk playing. It's the beginning of Rock and Roll Soul, I think. And they let the whole clip fly, but it was the opening of a concert, and they was just vamping the beginning.
Okay. And
they've let it fly for, you know, they haven't said nothing about it. And usually by now, if they was going to say something, they would. I've had some videos that I've taken down totally. I don't know if you missed them or not from my channel. There's a lot of Kiss videos. They're gone. And
okay. I saw those Kiss videos. I love those Kiss videos too, because there was a lot of early photos that I'd never seen.
Yeah. A lot of other people, and everybody's claiming they own them. There's quite a big lawsuit fight over it, but they was let's just put it this way. I won't do anything with Kiss. Nothing. Won't happen. Not again. It's too much of a headache.
Well, you know, Gene Simmons will claim he invented lawsuits, so what the hell?
Yeah. Well, it's not Gene Simmons so much. There's a couple of bozos out there running around, and I can see the one, Peter Criss's wife. She had some photos that was taken from her book. That was her personal photos. And you can, everybody says, oh, you know, they see about fair use. Well, you can. And fair use, we can use any picture right here we want, as long as we're talking about it, fair use. But if somebody wants to take it to court, we have to go to court too. And we have to prove that it was fair use. And that costs money. And guess what? I ain't going to do it. Right. Not over a video. I just rather not do it. There's a lot of other cool things out there to
hey, Caleb.
Talk about.
Good to see you. Caleb, lead guitar player for the band Nerd Halen.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot of your people from up north, your followers and everything.
Yeah, all around the world. It's
all around
crazy.
The world.
Yeah.
Mine's mostly United States, Canada, England, and Australia. That's the main part of it. I'll get a Germany and a France every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm about the same. About the same.
Yeah, you got a lot of guitar players here. That's cool.
Yeah. Another enigma, which would be a tough one to do a video on, is Izzy Stradlin.
Yeah. Yeah, some of them. Another thing you run into also in trying to do a video is you got to have the material, the pictures and videos to put behind it.
Yep.
Now you can find, sure, you can go to Google or Facebook and there's lots of pictures, but a lot of them pictures have been stomped on and smashed so much on the internet that you put them on a video and there's nothing Photoshop can do to save them.
Right.
And for like let's say a video that runs 12 to 15 minutes, you probably need 40 pictures to do that and some video clips. And they have to be decent pictures too.
Yep.
So it, doing a video there's a couple people that I've done that I really had to scrape for to get enough material. The information's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the pictures and stuff to keep with it. And I don't want it to get I do run pictures a long time sometimes, because they're cool pictures. I think somebody would like to look at them, or I can zoom in on a certain thing. Like, I don't know, did you see that one when I had where that picture went over really good? It was a picture I found of Ace Frehley with, what was that guy's name that produced the album that had Detroit Rock City and Beth on it? Was that Destroyer? I think Bob Ezrin's a producer. He produced Alice Cooper. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that was a big deal with Kiss back at that time. I mean, yeah, Peter and Ace, they was drinking and drugging it up pretty well. But Bob Ezrin was a totally different kind of producer than the other ones. The other ones that let him play. Bob Ezrin told him what to play.
Right.
He was one of them kind of guys, and Ace didn't like it. And a lot of it, anyway, the picture showed a picture of them, and they're all standing there. But if you looked out the picture and you look close, well, I had the picture and I zoomed right in on it. They're standing there with Bob Ezrin. They all got these, happy smiles. And Ace is flipping him off. He's got his hand stuck out too, but where Ezrin couldn't see it. And you could tell he was just doing it because he never did like the guy.
Right.
Okay,
everyone is confirming yes, Destroyer album. Awesome. Yeah. Paul Leonard Ewing in the chat. Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah. Yes, Destroyer too, yeah.
Yeah, there's been a few you've been able to find some good photos where I've had to pause the video and I'm like, hey, what do we got going on in that? What are they playing on in the background? And because being a gearhead, that's immediately when I see an old photograph, I'm like, what are they playing through to get that sound?
Yeah, see, that's what's cool about it. I got some really cool pictures. I haven't figured out how to use them yet, and they came from, like I said, I'm originally from St. Louis, and St. Louis was a big rock and roll town. I mean, there was concerts there all the time when I was a kid growing up in the 70s. And I got pictures like when the Who was there and Led Zeppelin, and you can see all the amps they was using back in, and it was really cool, to look at their equipment because these are real close. They was whoever took them was on stage, and I have no clue. They're on an old St. Louis website, a musician's website on there, and I got a bunch of these pictures, and I'd like to get somewhere where I could just so people could see them. Put them in a video so people could just set, how they do family pictures, just put them on there and do the same thing so people could see them. So I'm trying to figure something to do with that. I thought maybe I might try. I do a live every once in a while, but I'd much rather come on somebody else's. I hate to do them by myself, but I thought I could do maybe a live video and I could show them.
Well, I'm up to volunteer to host that situation if you want to. I will just say that. I have no problem with that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I seen the other day, and I think it'd be a great thing for your channel to do. and I don't know how it worked and how they got by. Have you? I know you're on YouTube a lot, so I'm sure you've seen reaction videos to where they're actually playing a video, and they're getting by with, and they're monetizing it.
Yeah, I still haven't figured out how they're getting away with that.
Well, they've been doing it for a long time, and I do know that if you resize,
Hey, Martin, get some sleep. He's in Austria, so
Austria.
2:30 in the morning in Austria. Get some sleep.
Yeah.
Ian's Guitar Shack. Good to
Yeah.
see you, my friend.
Resizing the picture, and also if you've got another video going at the same time, two of them, there's a fine line on it.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I seen, I'll turn you on to it. This guy, have you ever seen watch parties where everybody watches the same movie or something?
Yep.
Okay. This guy did a watch party and he did a live concert. I'm not going to name it or anything because I don't know. Yeah, by now he did not monetize it, but who cares? I mean, you wouldn't believe the people that was on there, and they would stop through it and they would start talking about the guitar tone, the amp they was using, and this, that, and the other. And they'd go through another song. And I don't know how many people he had in there doing this. And I'm sitting there going, man, they're going to take this thing down. They have to block it or something,
right,
because these are some well-known songs. Okay. And they never did. And it's still up. I'll turn you on to it later. Check it out.
Cool. Yeah, definitely.
It would be really good one for your channel because it gives you fodder to talk about. All them, I know I got like pictures and pictures of Jimi Hendrix from different concerts, and some of them, he's got the same cabinets because they got the same rips in them and stuff, and he has them set different. He might have a different head and how he does it. And I sit there and look at him and I go, man, I wonder what he was doing, because, Jimmy had a straight up tone. There was nothing, about it. He just took his Marshalls and turned them up, and that was it. And he used the wah-wah and stuff. But he had different ways and cabinets. He'd set them different ways. And I just wondered why he did it. And even if it wasn't nothing, it'd be something for guitar players to talk about and throw back and forth.
Definitely. I agree. What's up, Jim Cox in the chat? Good to see you, my friend. Richard Nagamitsu is asking, hey, Doc, what's all the gear behind you?
There's not much behind me, really. There's my monitors back there. I got a Bose, I believe that's an S1 or a G1. I don't know which. It's that's a battery. It's electric or battery, and it's got 2 channels. There's nothing, just the 2 speakers and the little bullet in the middle of it. And that thing, I used to use it. We used to play on the streets down here by the piers. And I'd charge it up, and you can plug a microphone and acoustic into it. And there was people there with running electric and running. Some of them had them rolling. I can't think of what it is. But it's
the micro cubes and stuff.
Yeah, cube. Yeah. This thing blew them away. That's one of the best sounding. It weighs 15 pounds.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I use it for a monitor system in here sometimes. When I'm recording, I don't trust headphones as well. After I get a mix, I want to hear it on a car stereo, and then I want to hear it through speakers flatline. I want to hear what it sounds like, not so much the quality of the sound. I want to make sure all the instrumentation and voices come, you can hear them. They're separate. There's some separation in there. So I'll listen to them.
There we go. Zach Thong says the Bose S1.
S1. Thank you. I knew it was something like that. You have to remember, guys, I'm old. I'm a lot older than you are. I don't know if I have the beginning of Alzheimer's, or I just.
Oh, I was gonna. We got a few people in chat roughly your age. Yeah. I'm not going to say who, in case they want to stay anonymous regarding that. But I've seen a few of them, and that's all I'll say. And Guitar Man 45 says, "So does Doc play bass? Looks like a bass there."
Yes, that's a bass. I can play bass. I started out playing guitar, but when you go out to play, and once you get old and your band don't make it, you play anything you can to make money. when you try to do it for a living. So I play guitar and I play bass, and I play keyboards, and I even got a ukulele back there, you know.
Nice.
But yeah, that's a P bass.
Everyone's like, "What's old? I might qualify." Well, I'm old.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is a P bass here. It looks like it's bass backwards. I don't know. I thought I had the camera right. This
That
one's
looks fine to me.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if I can make it play or not where you can hear it. I might be able to. You want to hear it? It's got great tone to it.
I like Billy Baloney's comment. There's a bunch of pre-CBS guys here.
Pre-CBS. There you go. See if you can hear this.
Yep.
Well, I just vibrated something off. Yeah, it's got this one here. I had a 67, and the neck was like playing a sawed in half baseball bat. It was the hardest playing bass I ever had. And I had a 63 Telecaster bass, and I played it a lot, but I didn't like the tone of it, and I didn't want to cut it up to get what I wanted out of it.
Sure.
And I came across this P bass about 30 years ago. And it's got a real good sound to it. But it's got a good sound to it. And it plays like a dream. And I've had it for 30 years. And I've never done a neck adjustment on it or frets.
Wow.
Now, I just remember I don't play it. I didn't play it all the time either. You know, it's set in the case. I use it for recording purposes now. It was just sitting here because I was doing a few tracks today before I come on here with you. And let me turn that down. Cancel that so it don't hiss. And yeah, that's a P bass. I had the only electric guitars, the electric 6 strings I got now. I got one of the Epiphone Les Pauls. I had an 82 Custom, and I sold it for I sold that, and I sold a Strat. I had a 90 something American Standard Strat, but I didn't play enough to warrant having them guitars. And for what recording purposes I do anymore, I can, and with all the equipment there is when you're recording, you can get a good sound out of just about anything.
That's true.
you know, as long as it plays. And my playing's not good enough. If I need something really good, I'll hire somebody to come in and play it.
I hear you.
You know,
Boner Jams, thank you very much for the super chat. Evening all, getting ready for Thick Boy Spring over here. Hope everyone has a great week. Great to see you, my friend. Check out Under the Bus Network every Wednesday. Caleb Rappaport in here earlier, and Boner Jams. That's half of the foursome over there every Wednesday night. Check it out. What's up, Eddie Van Haskell?
Eddie Van Haskell, that's a good one. Yeah, if anybody's got any channels, you want me to, I can put them on my featured channels down there. Just tell them, let me know, because yours is on there, Ben. I got a couple other friends.
I appreciate that.
That I put on there. So if you do, if I don't see it on here, I don't remember. Like I said, I'm old and I forget a lot. So just email. The email's in my on the Facebook or YouTube page. I don't even get on Facebook much anymore.
I go on there to share stupid guitar memes. That's about it.
Yeah, I'll throw a meme or two, and I'll look around, and you know, like I said, almost all the pages I'm subscribed to has something to do with music, and I might see a story or something I like or something I'll want to put on my channel or something and just run it through there, so I get my information. But I don't even talk, you know, to my kids or anything on there. It's just I like YouTube, and I love to be able to look. I love the research, and I love the information. I'm a total information freak. I love to do it, And
Same.
like I said, that's why I like doing these videos too, because a lot of people, they'll add to them. And that's another thing that's good. Someone else say, well, why didn't you say this? Well, I don't. You did. Thanks. Give us some information. We can all learn.
Exactly. And thank you very much, Terry. He's throwing the link to Doc's channel in the chat here for everyone to check out. And I've seen a few people have mentioned they've gone over and subscribed. Great stuff, I'm telling you.
Yeah, you might enjoy it.
I always learn something.
Yeah. Well,
that's the way I see it is like if I click on a video, I already know about the guy. All I'm looking for is one factoid. Just give me one that I didn't already know.
Right.
And if you might hit a few that I'm like, hey, I know not everybody knows that. I'll give you bonus points for those. And then all of a sudden, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll do things with the videos. There's some things that I leave out because I don't see no need for it. And if people want to talk about it, great. Talk about it. That's the whole thing. As long as people don't. I have a lot more leniency on Friday and Saturday nights because I know people get on there and drink and want to leave this comments. But I can tell the people here, don't come in and attack somebody for posting on there because you won't be on mine long. I don't need some. I don't care. But I had channels, and a lot of people will let them go. They'll let people fight because here's the thing: the more comments you get, the higher up you go on YouTube, and the more subscribers you get, the more YouTube pushes you. But you know what? I don't care.
I don't need to play that game.
Yeah, just be nice. You know, there's nothing wrong. If you know something, great, tell it. But you have people. The one thing that a lot of people don't understand, like I did some ZZ Top videos. Now them boys, they say anything, and Dusty, Billy, and Frank. You ask them how the name ZZ Top came about. You're going to get 3 answers and then a giggle from all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So if one person says this, the other person says that, and the other person says that. There's always 3 sides to a story. There's 4 and 5 and 6 sides. Leonard Skinner, there is more folklore about that group than you can imagine. And there's no need, like with Gary Rossington, Gary said that Alan Collins played the beginning slide in Freebird.
Right.
And I would have swore that was Gary's Les Paul. He said, and here's the thing. Gary said that he played it on his Explorer. He didn't have an Explorer at that time that I know. He was playing a Firebird. He didn't get the Explorer till 75. But this is what Gary said.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with coming on and saying, man, there's no way you could have that Explorer and explain it. Great, that's cool. But don't come on and go, you're stupid, man. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Guess what? There's over 100 million people a day that gets on YouTube now. Channels don't need that. They don't want.
I get a kick out of the people that will take the time to click on the video for it to play just long enough for them to type it. Gary Rossington sucks.
Yeah. Well, why are you watching the video? You got get a life, dude. And then you'll also find people, they'll click on and you can tell they just watch the first minute and they'll want to come in and complain. Like I said, somebody complained because I didn't put Freebird, the song Freebird, in my video. I'm a guitar player, and and I wanted to hear. If you're a guitar player, then you got to know about publishing rights and copyrights. You would think. And
not to mention, if you really want to hear Freebird, type in Freebird live or studio.
Yeah,
lots of clips.
Don't waste your time on my video. Dude, you can find Freebird in many different forms on YouTube. That's a beautiful thing about that place.
Exactly.
But you got to. I try to keep mine halfway clean. I don't mind people cussing. I really and truly don't. As long as you're not cussing at somebody.
Yeah.
As long you want to say he's a great fucking guitar player. Hey, that's cool.
Yeah.
but don't start it with talking to somebody else with a you or you are,
Hmm.
or you're pretty, you'll be pretty much history on my channel, because I want the people to be able to come in there, and
Exactly.
there's some people that don't play even, but they're fans. They love these people. They're their heroes. They're their idols. The bands, they've listened to them all their life, and they want to be able to express themselves without somebody demeaning them.
Exactly.
So-
I fully agree. It's like, I would imagine, you're going to get a few comments. Well, Gary's a bit of a jerk, or about. As you had said, I didn't realize the amount of injuries he had in that plane crash. Like, obviously, I knew he was injured, but I'm thinking that man's in pain every day of his life, and it's only getting worse with time.
Yeah.
Like, I was fortunate. I got to meet him briefly after a concert, which was they had played the pre-race event at Charlotte Motor Speedway one year, and after the show, I somehow ended up backstage because I took a shortcut to get there, and then security's like, "Are you supposed to be here?" And since I looked like a member of Skinner at the time, they're like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "I don't know if this pass allows me to be here," and they're like, "No." So I ended up going side stage to watch, which was perfect.
Right.
And I thought it was really cool because the background singers would come off stage whenever they weren't singing, and so I'm like, "Hey, awesome!" And they're, because I'm like 15 feet from them, and they saw that. And then when they went to leave, the band comes out, hops into two vans. Well, of course, then you got a whole infield at a NASCAR race trying to get back to their campsite, so it's gridlock. And so I got out front, and I'm kind of waving them through this narrow area, and we got one van through, and then the second van clipped a tow truck just ever so slightly. I'm like, so the road manager has to get out of the first van and go and deal with that. And me being me, sees an opportunity. I'm like, "Hey, that window is down on that van, and I know Gary Rossington's in that van. I'm sticking my head into that van."
I'm gonna say, yeah, there you go.
And I just want to say you had a great set, and you see Gary's immediately like, "Who is this person?"
Yeah.
But the background singers were in there with it, and they're like, "Oh, he's cool." And I just said, "I loved your Les Paul. That's an anniversary edition, isn't it?" He's like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" I said, "Well, I play a bit myself."
Yeah.
Have a nice day. And that was kind of it. And by that time, the manager came back over. He said, "Excuse me, we got to go. We have another show tonight. Feel free, go."
But at least you got to see him.
Great show. I will say it was a great show. And that was 2017, I want to say. 2016, 2017.
Yeah. Last I heard, Gary's getting pretty bad. His heart's giving out on him. They're playing over here, probably not less than an hour drive from my house in March, the middle of March, at one of the festivals. And if I find out Gary's going to be there, I'll try. I'm going to try my best to run the time and go. I don't think it's that expensive. I don't really care. I just like to see Gary because I had seen Skinner years ago. I'm not big. A lot of people don't understand. I'm not really big on the tribute type bands. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of bands out there now saying they're this and that, and they're not really. They're not the same. But I respect the tribute bands because just like Skinner, the guys up there now, they're not really trying to say they're Leonard Skinner. They're trying to keep Ronnie Van Zant and the Leonard Skinner band music alive. Is what they do. And they do a hell of a job. They really play it really close. I mean, probably better than if the original guys was still alive. They probably.
Well, I would say, I closed my eyes, and at that time, Ricky Medlock was playing with them. So it's like, okay. Yeah, fine, and you got Ronnie's brother singing, and that sounds pretty close.
Yeah,
and they say in a live setting, half the time, like by the time you get to our age, half the bands quit or overdosed or whatever anyway. So, and there's much worse representations. I always think the Guess Who. I'm like, who is playing in the Guess Who these days? Because it's not Randy Bachman or Burton Cummings. And no offense to the bass player and drummer, but who are they?
Yeah, they all do that. There was a group out of Illinois. It was kind of a one-hit wonder in a way. They was called Head East. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah, I remember Head East.
They did the song "Never Been Any Reason," "Save My Life, I'm Going Out." All right, they still got a big web page going and everything like that. And the only one there's a keyboard player, right? But here's the thing: you can't take that away them guys, even that keyboard player, he worked hard for that name.
Yep.
And he needs to work just like any other human being needs to work. And
let's be honest, using that name, that's an extra zero on the paycheck at the end of the night.
Exactly.
It's that much of a difference.
Yeah, it does. It makes a difference in what they can book and what they can do. It's the same thing like with ZZ Top. You know, I did the Elwood video. We go back to the beginning. And there's so many people saying, well, they should just give it up. Well, truthfully, Billy and Frank could afford to give it up. They don't need the money. But you know what? They want to play. They enjoy playing. And why shouldn't they? Why should,
and they're doing it as much for us as anything else. Let's be honest. You know, we want to hear the band. We want to hear the music.
Yeah.
Billy has solo projects he could do. But again, booking ZZ Top, that's an extra zero on the paycheck at the end of the night.
Oh, sure. You know,
if not two.
Yeah. And Elwood did a fine job. Dusty was not a fancy bass player. He just grooved. He knew how to, he hung there with Frank and give Billy something to play to.
Mm-hmm.
And copying his bass style was not hard. Getting his tone and his groove was. A lot of people don't give Elwood credit for that because he was a guitar player. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of guitar players, they'll say, oh, I can play bass. But when you put them with a drummer, they can't hang. You know, they're either trying to push it or hang or do more than they should. Elwood pretty much laid it out. And Top goes on. And, yeah, I go and see Top. I much happier that I got to see him back in the earlier days. It's the same thing like with Kiss.
Yeah.
I will give Kiss credit. You know, Gene and Paul did 90% of the singing anyway. But the Kiss that I heard, you know, with Ace and Peter, you know, and I said this in one of the videos, and people went nuts, you know, like Eric Carr was a phenomenal drummer. I mean, that guy was just totally awesome. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel bad that he died, but when he took over for Peter, and then Ace left, and they brought in who was it, Vinnie Vincent for a while, and then that one great guitar player, Bruce Kulick.
Mm-hmm.
Them guys was great musicians, but Kiss never sounded the same.
No, exactly. Now, they were probably the right musicians for that time when they did the 80s thing, because they were sounding just like every other Sunset Strip band, essentially. Right. So you need the guy with the Floyd Rose guitar to do the flashy licks and stuff.
Exactly. And here's the thing that a lot of musicians don't understand about bands. For a band to have longevity, like Kiss, any of them, ZZ Top, you know, like I love old ZZ Top. It was so bluesy and rock. Mm-hmm. And then they went to the MTV and did the Give Me All Your Lovin' and Sharp Dressed Man and stuff. And people, well, you know what? I can tell you something. If ZZ Top hadn't have changed with the times, they never would have had the longevity.
Nope.
They did. They would have started dying down. They couldn't do it. Bands that keep making it and keep going, now they all make their money off playing the songs that we grew up with. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point. And they're not, they do a new album, but Kiss, by the time Peter and Ace pretty much shot their wad with the group, you know, and they had to make the changes. Kiss was already going to have to change and do something because that style, what made them was leaving, the music they did.
Yeah.
I heard Kiss in March of 1974.
Okay.
Kiss had only been out touring for about a month. This was the first album had just come out. I heard them guys on the back of a flatbed trail. I did a video about it. It's gone now, but I did a video about it. There's actually a few videos of when they're playing. I was standing right down there, and the first thing that grabbed my ear, you know, like I said, in 1974, I was still a teenager, but Ace Frehley's guitar, you know, I'm I think he had a 100-watt Marshall, but whatever it was, his guitar was just plugged into that Marshall and it was cranked all the way up. And when he took a lead, I'm telling you, buddy, he jumped out there and he played nothing. Like everybody says, well, you know, he's not a great guitar player. No, Ace ain't a great guitar player. Most anybody can learn his licks and play them.
Mm-hmm.
But how come you ain't out there and he is? Because he had the balls to get out there and do what he had to do to make it. And he was a good enough player. They had no, when they got on stage, like I said, they was just raw. They was real raw back then. You know, they didn't breathe no fire or nothing. It was outside and it was cold. Oh, it was cold. My God, it was cold. It was in March in St. Louis. The wind was blowing. It was probably 40, 50 degrees, you know. And them guys got out there and played for over an hour. Now, you know, their hands was cold. You know, couldn't,
Sure.
but you know what? They smiled. They got on stage. They did what they did, and they rocked their brains out. Peter just pounded the shit out of them drums. I mean, he just pounded. And there was nothing. They reminded me like of, remember the group called Slade?
Oh, yeah.
They was just a 4-piece rock and roll band. And I didn't even, the makeup thing wasn't nothing to me. You know, it didn't really impress me because I was there for the music, because I was a musician. You know, I love guitar and bands. And Kiss was really, really a good band at that time. And that's the Kiss that I remember. You know, I wasn't really big on the Destroyer album. The one next that came out, they went back and had Eddie
Kramer.
Eddie Kramer, thank you. Had Eddie Kramer produce that one, I believe. Rock and Roll Over, maybe.
Yep.
And that turned back into more old Kiss, but you know, as they went on, they started going to more the other sound. And again, that's why Ace basically got out, because he was a rock and roll guitar player. He couldn't play that style. And Peter either, you know, I mean, Peter was not a fancy drummer at all.
No.
You know, I think he did a real good job of holding the band. His meter was actually pretty good live.
I always loved him as a drummer. You know, people slag him for a variety of reasons. I always liked his beats myself.
Yeah.
I want to shout out, we got Aaron from Albus Band in the chat. Great to see Aaron in here. He had a great gig last night. And my lovely sister Amanda is in the chat. And Scott Brockway as well. And Corey's Garden. Because he just popped in. Perfect.
That's good. You got there's a lot of chats going on. I can see them.
Yeah.
I don't hardly know anybody, but
I like Scott Bragway says Slade rules. That's right.
Slade rules, boy. Naughty
Wasn't
Holder.
for Slade, Quiet Riot wouldn't have half their hits.
Yeah. Slade played in St. Louis in 1970. I forget. It was at the Ambassador Theater. And they started out, and as soon as they started, they wanted the transformers burned outside the theater. It was like a 3,000-seat theater. And the show stopped for like 45 minutes. And nobody left. You know, concerts back in the 70s, where I come from, I mean, we had tailgate parties for concerts. You know, I mean, there was people, it was called the Ambassador Theater in St. Louis. You might be able to still look it up. I mean, there was people in there with, you know, Boone's Farm bottles and bongs and everything. I mean, they just sat there and just kept partying and having a big time. I mean, it was all a big party. That's the way it worked. But Slade came out and man, they kick ass once they started. They was just a loud 4-piece rock and roll band, and Naughty Holder could really scream, and he could scream on pitch. You know, he wasn't. I've heard a lot of guys that scream and stuff nowadays, but they don't scream on pitch. They can't sing really. They're just screaming. Naughty could scream and hit it. Yeah, Slade was a good group. I enjoyed them immensely. I played a lot of their music in my cars as loud as it would go. Probably why I'm wearing headphones now, so I can hear myself talk.
See, a lot of people are dating themselves in the chat because they're like, Boone's Farm. Yep.
Oh, Boone's Farm, baby. I'll tell you what. We lived off that stuff when I was a kid. That's, you know, if I drink a glass of that stuff right now, it'd it'd make me hurl. I don't drink much anymore anyway. I go out and have a few beers now and then out there and see, like I said, in the sunshine.
Sure.
But Brownsville Station in the early 70s, I'll be damned. Yeah.
Slade with Brownsville Station. That'd be a good show.
Yeah. See, this is what's cool about these old musicians' songs. Everybody has a story to tell. And this is like, somebody asked me, how come your channel is doing so good? I said, because I'm doing exactly like what me and you are doing. We're sitting here talking like we would be on our front porch. I'll tell a story. Somebody else has a story to tell about this. It brings back a memory, and everybody wants, and that's what they do on my channel. They'll listen to a video, and if it's about Stevie Ray Vaughan or Johnny Winter, they'll want to tell, leave a little thing about the time they saw Johnny Winter or this, that, and the other concert they went to. I actually have a video I'm trying to make it. I'm in the process of it. I don't know how I want to put it out, but it was about, I remember it was one of the last concerts I went to in St. Louis before, when I grew up and I left and started playing music full time. And it's real funny. There was actually the news. You can still get the newspaper clipping from the concert. It was held in, they call it the Checker Dome. Back then it was the arena in St. Louis, and it was a 17,000 seat arena. It was made for horse shows, but they changed it over and had the hockey. That's where the St. Louis Blues played hockey. You, being up north, you probably know a little about hockey, I'm sure.
Oh, just a little.
Yeah, just a little. Anyway, and they had a concert. It was booked. It was going to try something. It was booked in October. None of the newspapers tells all this. This is what's so funny. I got the newspaper clipping, but I was there. It was booked in October, late October, and it was Ted Nugent and Golden Earring. Okay. We went down there, and the concert was canceled. The deal about this concert was it was general admission. You get a ticket and you just go in and fight for a seat. They rescheduled the concert for January 24th, I believe 1978 or 79. I'm not sure which. It had to be 78 because I wasn't 20. Well, none of us was old enough to drink yet. Let's put it that way. And there was 6 of us that was going to go. And they had rescheduled it it was either a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Well, we went, some of the kids that was still in school. I was out of high school by then, and I was playing music, but I was still working a day job. But I took off because we was all going to go to this concert. Well, and we was going to go early. It said, the doors was going to open at 7. The concert was starting at 8. But what they didn't realize, this was their first try at general admission. First come, first serve. We got in, we loaded up. There was 6. What it was, I had a 66 Chevelle, okay? But there was 6 of us, and I had bucket seats. Well, I remember the day. The reason I remember the day well, because January 24th was my dad's birthday. And I went down to my mom and dad's house, and they had this, it was a 1970-something, a Plymouth Fury 3. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but this car was like a boat. I mean, it was huge. You had 2 people sitting there, and one, hey, man, send me a light. It was that far away from you. Well, I said, you guys care if I use your car to go to this concert? Because I'll just leave mine here because I got a bunch of people going. My dad said, no, go ahead. So we decided we got up there about noon. And we parked. I wanted to park across the street, the interstate from the concert, because I said, this will be easier to get out because this place is going to be packed. You know it.
Right.
Ted Nugent, he played St. Louis about every 6, 7, 8 months, and he just sold out. He was just really big there. When we got there, there was probably 200 or 300 people already lined up. This is at noon. Okay. And we said, well, we're going to sit there. We were setting up on the hill. We could see it. And we started drinking and partying and having a big time. You know, we're there in Forest Park across the street. Well, the crowd started getting big. We go, well, we better get a place in line so we can get it. So what we did, 2 of us would go down there, stick a couple of beers, you know, in our pockets and head down, and they would stay in line. And every 30 minutes, another couple of us would walk down, hold the line. The other one would go back to the car and sit for a while. But the line started getting big, and the people was drinking and partying. And like I said, this was the 70s still in St. Louis. Cops was driving by, and they did nothing. You know, I mean, nobody was sitting there doing it, but they would do it. And by about 5 o'clock, that line, there was probably 2,000-3,000 people hanging outside the building, and cars was coming in. Well, we left the car, and there was all 6 of us in there. And we was probably 40, 50 foot back from the door. And about 6 o'clock, the people come in to open the doors. They was walking. You see them getting the turnstile. And these people started getting rowdy. Somebody threw a wine or a whiskey bottle, and these were these big, high 8-foot windows, you know, with the glass doors going into an auditorium. They started doing that. They started throwing bottles at them, breaking the windows. They started pushing and started shoving. I go, man, this is going to get rough. Well, it got really rough. The newspaper said that there was a total of 15 people that had to seek medical help trying to get in there. Trust me, there was 20 or 30 people in a big pile trying to get the turnstile that was laying there bleeding, and people stepping on them and mashing them. One guy got pushed through the glass windows. This was just getting started. Oh, it was awful. It was the wildest thing I ever seen. I was a pretty big guy. One of the girls who was with us, she was real short. She was about 4'10", 15, 16 years old. She wasn't very, you know. As the crowd started pushing through and they went through the turnstiles and started heading into the arena, she was laying on the ground. There was people just walking over people. I mean, you went down, you was hurt. I grabbed her and got her up, and she was okay. And we started going through the lines. Well, we got in. I knew the arena well because I'm a hockey fan, and I used to go to hockey games all the time too. And we wanted to get down on the main floor. Well, we got down on the main floor, and we're looking around. I didn't see anybody I knew. All the people, there was 4 other people with me. I had no clue. And it was all general admission. There was people picking up these metal chairs and slinging them and throwing. I mean, it was always a madhouse. We finally had a couple of seats, and we sat down, and people just started partying. Golden Earring, or not Golden, Golden, that's the name, Golden Earring. They had one song, Radar Love. Yeah, and these people had been partying all day long, and they was, you know, wanting to see Ted Nugent. Golden Earring played Radar Love, their second song. About 2 more songs, and the people hated them. They was throwing stuff. I mean, it was a mess. Throwing stuff. Right. Nugent came out and just, I mean, God, he was loud. I mean, ungodly loud. You know, his amplification, not his PA, his amplification. It was, I mean, but he had Derek St. Holmes with him, and he had the whole group. I mean, it was really good. But after the show was over, we got back to the car, and all the other people that was with us came in. Where'd you sit? I don't know. I was sitting between 2 people I'd never seen before. But the newspaper clipping that I got from that talks about how the owner, the guy that was running the venue, said, we'll never have another trial of a general admission concert in St. Louis again. It'll never happen. But it was way worse. I'll lay money. There was 100 people that was hurt over that. I mean, getting pushed through the doors, and turnstile was knocked over. The people that was supposed to run the turnstile, I guess they just run or took off. You know, I had my ticket for a long, long time. I don't know whatever happened to it. It was general admission concerts. Yeah. Don't go.
Crazy times.
Yeah, it was.
Dennis L says, saw Uncle Ted and Golden Earring in Greensboro that tour.
Greensboro, yeah.
Nice.
Ted was, Uncle Ted and Golden Earring, Greensboro, that tour, yeah.
Huh.
Greensboro, is that North Carolina, I believe?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Ted Nugent was really big throughout the Midwest and on the, you know, down and through there. I mean, he sold out all the time. He was big. REO Speedwagon was big. They was through St. Louis in and out quite a bit. I've seen them quite a few times.
Well, I guess, yeah, St. Louis is a good tour stop because of its location for logistics, right?
And we had really good venues there. You know, we had quite a few of the super jams there.
And a variety of size venues too, which is great, you know, because if you only have a 5,000 and a 20,000 and you need something in that 12 range for that.
We had Kiel Auditorium, and I think it seated about 11, 12,000 people. And it was probably one of the best sounding venues of the larger ones, you know, like the smaller theaters really sounded good. That like American Theater was 3,000 seats, had great sound, but the Kiel Auditorium was really good. You know, I seen Sammy Hagar there. I seen Boston there. I seen Kiss. I seen Bob Seger when Bob Seger only had Catmandu, Travel Man, Beautiful Loser. That was the only songs he had out. You know, he was just young, and you could tell he was really going to be something. But there was a lot of venues there. You know, they had the Checker Dome, the arena. Then they had Busch Stadium for the baseball stadium.
Right.
And there was probably 5 or 6 of them 3,000 to 5,000 seat venues around there. And they just had concerts left. I mean, that's all we had to do, you know, was to go camping and go to concerts back then in the 70s. And I seen them all.
Awesome.
I saw Nugent first upper deck section, 10 meters from the PA. You couldn't hear right for a day. Richard.
No doubt.
I was right up in front, and my ears have never been the same. He was playing through them Fenders, like them dual Showmans or whatever. And it was all turned up on 10. And I believe his opening song was Stormtrooper. And he started out, the lights was dim, and he started the guitar part out, and he was on top of them, the dual Showman stack. And, you know, them things was overhead high. They was over 6 foot. And when he was doing that and he jumped off of them, he didn't just walk off. He jumped up and off. That guy was 8 foot in the air and landed playing. I mean, he did not stop moving the whole show. Total energy, total ball of energy. Much intoxication at a Johnny Winter concert. Yeah. Johnny was like that himself for a long, long time.
Yep.
He really was. Paul Nelson. In my Johnny Winter video, I talk about Paul Nelson. He's still out touring around. As a matter of fact, I believe he was up in Michigan here a while back. He's a guitar player. He wrote some songs, but he's the one that got Johnny totally clean and got Johnny another 3 or 4 or 5 years of playing before he went totally down.
Right.
And he played with him for a long time. Look him up on if you're on Facebook, he's got a page. His name's Paul Nelson. Great guitar player.
Very cool.
Saw Nuge at the Coliseum in Columbus, 76. Atlanta Rhythm Section. Atlanta Rhythm Section was good.
Yeah, great band.
Boston St. Patrick's Day Sammy Hagar opened. Richard was, let me think. Was Rick Derringer on that show? Rick Derringer, Sammy Hagar, and Boston. The Wango Tango Tour with Ted, yeah.
See what he says on that one.
Because when I seen Boston, Sammy Hagar was there, but Rick Derringer opened up the show, and Hagar came out second, and then Boston was last. They were just starting to play some of them songs from the second album. But every song they did off that first album, Bradley Delps was a phenomenal singer. The guy had an amazing voice. That was probably one of the closest bands to sounding like their record that I ever heard. Not just the two. Derringer made just to come on. I think that was in 78 that I saw him. It was right whenever that second album first came out.
Right. Okay. And I can only imagine. Billy Baloney says, yeah, back in the 70s, Cleveland was the rock and roll town too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cleveland was big. Well, so, there was a lot of places in Illinois, even up in Iowa. Des Moines and places, they had a lot of rock and roll coming all through the Midwest there. Indianapolis was really big.
Yeah.
Indianapolis made Kiss almost, they was huge. Yeah, Boston was amazing. They really were.
I would say you were very lucky, Billy.
Yeah.
Hey, Devin. Good to see you. See, Graphite says, Ted Nugent introduced me to B.B. King. Okay, nothing wrong with that.
Wow. Nugent's an all right guy, man. He speaks his mind, that's for sure, and he don't care what people think.
Exactly.
Edgar Winter with Ronnie Montrose. Wow.
Nice. Welcome, Proto.
Yeah. They did a killer version of Frankenstein.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Gee.
Ronnie Montrose was a good guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have some people in here close to my age, Ben. They have to be.
I'm thinking so. Yeah.
You might be the young pup here.
I'm starting to think that. Jeez. Yeah.
Well, you look at your subscriber. You can go to your subscribers, and it'll tell you the average age of what yours is. Like I said.
Yeah, and now that they break it down between videos and live streams, I know there will be a different demographic there. Because the videos do get a lot of younger people for demo videos, because anybody will look up a demo video. But see, Mark says he saw Johnny Winter at Harpo's in Detroit. Nice.
Yeah. Johnny Winter is great. I found a video of Johnny Winter. I'll get with you on it, Ben. I think it might be something that would fly. Remember that thing we was talking about earlier?
Yep.
Do it. I need to find a way to test it to make sure, because I'm clean. I don't have no copyright strikes now. But boy, when you get one, you don't want to get two, because then you can get one for anything and they close you down totally.
Yep. I've had a few claims, but I've yet to have a strike. I've had a few claims from when playing music on here.
Trust me, I've had
Judas Priest loved claiming when I play their stuff. They didn't like me playing stuff, and I was like, I take it as a compliment.
I know a lot of songs that you can play on it. See, I tell you how you can find out. If you can just play the song and record it, just do a video by yourself right there and just sit there and play and record it and upload it and watch it and see if it comes up with a claim. If it don't, you can use it on your live stream.
Yeah, because even if you put it up as unlisted, they'll still put a claim on it.
Oh yeah,
prior to
claim. Mm-hmm. As soon as it uploads, it'll hit the claim. Yeah. I used to do acoustic music, and it would either throw the claim on it, and they would still let me use it. See, that's the whole thing. I could still use it. I just had to split the revenue with the publishers.
Yeah.
You could still use it. But some of them didn't even get claimed. And what was really funny, I was doing like some Jim Croce stuff and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one Jim Croce song would get claimed, but another one wouldn't. There was no claim to it. And that was really, really strange. But I got a list. They used to have a page on YouTube.
Yeah.
That you could go to. Remember that? They would tell you what songs that would be claimed and what wouldn't. I wouldn't attempt to play a video and monetize it, I don't think. The only thing that would do, they would just either black it out or something in it. It'd be more to build more people up and get them to know your channel and everything like that. Because getting the word out's hard. YouTube's hard anymore. There's so many creators out there.
It is, and I'm glad I started when I did. Like, I've been doing this a little over 5 years now, and I'd hate to start from scratch now. Like, if you're doing just a straight guitar-based channel, because the biggest problem is there's no way to really categorize it. Because, it's like you put it under music. Well, we talk about music, but we don't actually play music. Is it educational? Well, kind of, but not really. So they don't really have a place to put musicians.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I did. I tried. I listed a few of my videos under entertainment instead of music, and they didn't seem to do as good. So
I think these shows are listed as entertainment because
entertainment?
If nothing else, I'm entertaining.
You might try listing a couple of them under music and just see if you notice a difference. Like after you upload them, they may show them to more the algorithm will pick them up and spread them out to more people.
Possibly.
It's worth a try, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Booking agent Jim Croce once worked for. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
See, people love to talk about stuff. You know, all you got to do is give them, and that's a cool thing. And that's why I like your channel. You know, I'll come on here and, you know, a lot of times I'm here and I don't say anything. I just sit there and read the comments and stuff and listen to you guys talk when you're on here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start talking when you start talking about guitars a whole lot, some of it I'll listen to, some of it I don't pay attention, but I always let it run and just let it keep going. So, you know,
sure. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Keeps the video. I do that to you know, there's probably 10, 12 people that I follow that I actually watch and listen to, you know, and I always make sure I watch the videos. And if I'm real busy, like I got one computer going, the videos run, I may be listening to it while I'm doing something else or something.
Yep.
But you always try to help fellow YouTubers out. You know, that's the way it should be.
That's the way I say it. It's supporting the scene, just like the local music scene. You know, I support my favorite artists and
that's it. You know, just talk about things. You know, a lot of people like to reminisce. That was what my whole channel was about, you know, and I knew, you know, there was no way, you know, at my age that I was going to be able to talk with guys in their 20s and 30s. You know, the musics were totally away.
Totally different. Yep.
And I didn't expect the channel to be as big as it is because I didn't expect as many people as old as I am to be on YouTube. I mean, I've been on a computer. I got my first computer. I was on the internet when Windows 95 was new. You know, I mean, I've been on there a long, long time. And, but a lot of people, you know, didn't start really using the internet until they got a cell phone. You know, I got a lot of friends that only use a cell phone. I'm sitting there going, how in the heck do you just use a cell phone?
I agree. Richard says, glad I tuned in tonight. Great chat and guest. Now subscribe to Doc. Awesome.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that, Richard. I hope you enjoy and watch a few videos. You might like them.
And yes, I'll say recap. We did last Wednesday night. We did one of our Zoom calls for channel members and patrons. And it's like this, but with 20 of us, Doc. And, you know, there's about 20% guitar talk and the rest of it's life. Just a bunch of us guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, it's like, you know, and I seen that came up and came through, but I was real busy trying to get that Bernie Ledden video done and out. And I can be a procrastinator sometimes. And when I get under the gun, then I'll have to sit here and work for 12 hours straight to get one going and get it out. And I couldn't make that. I'll try to make one in a couple, 3 weeks. I got a trip coming up the end of March that I have to go back to St. Louis for a while. I haven't been back to St. Louis in 5 years.
Okay.
And I got to go back and I got to try to get myself worked up. So I got my a couple of videos on hand so I can at least let them out and I can keep an eye on them with my laptop when I get up there and everything like that. I mean, basically I just try to police the comments and things like that. And I truthfully, I don't have to do it a whole lot. YouTube is pretty strict. They put a lot of stuff to look at before you release it. And sometimes they'll put comments in there. I'll go, what's wrong with this? You know, I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem with somebody cussing as long as they're not cussing at somebody or cussing or trying to become and make a comment about something and make the channel look bad. You know what I'm saying? I can't let people get by with that unless they have a legitimate complaint, you know? But just like I tell them, it's the internet. Just because I got my information out of this book, I mean, I've probably got 20 books on the Beatles, and all 20 of them books will have certain things, and they'll all see it from a different perspective. You know, George seen it from a different perspective. Paul did, John did. They all do.
Sure.
So we're always going to have discrepancies, and there's nothing wrong with talking about them. But they have to remember, like I said, my channel is not like Facebook. Don't think you're going to come in there and start mean mouthing people, and because that'll just run the good people off.
Yep.
Like I said, I don't know who you got. If you got anybody, if you have to, your chat's here, but everybody seems real nice here. They want to talk. They just want to talk music and guitars and have a good time.
Yep. Yeah, it's a pretty good crowd we got, I will say. Every week. It changes a bit week to week because not everybody can tune in every week, which makes sense. And but it's always a good crowd, very positive, and keeps me wanting to keep doing it too. Because if it was just a bunch of negativity in there, I wouldn't be doing this myself.
Right.
Hey, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Mark, my faithful roadie. He saved my back so many times.
Now, Ben, where are you exactly? You're from up north, right? I know you're in Canada.
Yeah, I'm about 100 miles east of Toronto.
East of Toronto, okay.
Yeah.
So you're not up in the frozen north.
No. Fortunately, basically on the north shore of Lake Ontario.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's still cold up there. But yeah, a lot of the people from up there come down to where I'm at in Florida. And then northern Florida, where it's about the temperature's 10, 15 degrees different than where I'm at, we'll get the people coming from Saskatoon and Calgary and way up in the frozen north.
Right.
They'll come down there and it'll be 55 or 60 degrees and that water will be cold and they'll be out there swimming. Oh, this feels great, And I mean, I don't even go in the water here in the wintertime.
Aaron from Elvis Band likes to make fun of me about that because we've gone through a couple of NAMM shows together. And, the last one would have been, it was still when it was held in January. It's the end of January in California. Late morning. It's 58 degrees out and sunny. And I'm out there shirtless getting a suntan. Yeah.
Well, you do. And that's what I tell a lot of my friends. They'll say, well, man, you're warm. I said, well, I've been here 6 years now. I've been almost 7 years. I was down here. I've been coming to Florida all my life. That's where I run to when I was a kid. But I moved down here about 6 years ago. And now, like I said, like this winter months, our average temperature at night here is around 50 degrees. Okay. Our average high during the day is about 70. Now that can fluctuate in difference. And then we can get really hot days. We can hit 88 degrees, but we can also only hit 55 degrees during the day. Well, we had a couple of evenings here that got down in the mid to low 30s.
Okay.
And I thought I was going to die. I was going to freeze to death. Now I'm from St. Louis. We had cold winter. We had below zero weather and we had snow and ice. My main thing was to get away from the snow and ice. I didn't like shoveling that stuff no more.
I don't like it either.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
But anyway, it got to me. It made me realize I'll never come back. I'll never move back north. They'll have to bury me down here. But I enjoy it. There's a good music scene down here. If you want to play, it don't make no difference to your age or whatever. There's a lot of what can I say? Classic rock bands. Some of them are good, and some of them can't realize that, even Stephen Perry can't sing his own songs in the same keys anymore, but they try to do it. And you're sitting there going, dude, come on. Don't, drop the key or just don't do the song. They're doing Foreigner and Journey. And there's not many guys 50, 60, 70 years old that can nail them notes. Not even the original singers can hardly do it.
Exactly.
But they still try. And
there's no shame in dropping down a key. There's no shame.
No. Oh no. Are you kidding? When I went out to play, I actually would have a guitar. I played lighter gauge strings anymore. My hands are, you can see how crooked my fingers are from arthritis and everything. I play pretty light gauge strings on acoustic, but I had one that I would put, it was medium heavies. I believe they was 12 or 13, and I would tune it down a whole step. and I would play. So if I was playing in G, I was actually playing out of F.
Right.
Because you can hear I have a low voice anyway. And I used to be able to sing high, but I guess probably I was in my early 40s and my falsetto just went away. You know, I never could sing high full voice, but my falsetto just totally went away. All it does is screech, scratch, and now it won't even do anything. So if I sing something, it has to be
right.
I can't do it anymore.
I hear you on that.
Yeah, not many of us are a fan of cold. I'm trying to keep up.
I really had to work on my singing going from a metal band. Well, the intro music we used tonight, that's one of my old bands doing
that's cool.
Screaming stuff. And then pick up another side gig playing classic rock covers with a female singer and backing her singing. I'm like, okay, I'm going up an octave basically.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. What amp do you like to use when you play out now?
I use my Fender Blues Deluxe because it's clean, it's transparent, and then I got a bunch of little amps and boxes so I can make it sound like a Fender or a Vox or a Marshall, whatever I need it to do, you know, because I'm one of those guys. If the other guy's going to have the same tone all night, I'm going to mix up mine so we don't sound the same all night.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we're doing some 80s, I want to sound like I'm from the 80s. If we're doing 60s, I want to sound like I'm playing in the 60s.
Fender's a good amp. I mean, the tube, I was always a big tube. Like I told you earlier, I played that PV Mace for years because that's what Rossington and Collins like to play through. And it was the worst choice I could have ever made because when I got in small venues, I couldn't get it opened up and make it, you know, you could overdrive it, but it sounded so much better, you know, if you turn that one volume up and then took the preamp volume and then brought it up to about 5 or 6 and them tubes would get hot. Man, that thing sounded good, but it would just rip your face. It was so loud. And I get in places like, you know, you ever heard of the Wisconsin Dells?
Yes.
Yeah, I played a couple of the Holiday Inns around there with that amp, and oh man, it was a mess. But back then we was playing, you know, our heaviest rock would have been stuff like I remember playing, like the leads to like Lionel Richie's "Hello" and the songs like that. It was more mellower stuff, you know, and everything. So I got by, but it finally that amp shot dice. But it had 2 of them Superstructure Black Widows. And I said I had an 82 Les Paul Custom. I still got some videos of that. One day I might try to burn one down a little bit and put it out so people can see it. I mean,
nice.
You wouldn't believe what it sounded like in 1982, in the late 70s, early 80s. Because I had a Marshall 50 watt with a half stack for a long time, and then I got rid of the 412s. And got a 412 orange cabinet that had Celestians in it. It was a straight cab. Boy, that thing sounded good too.
Yeah. Heavy cabs, but bulletproof and sound great.
Oh, so heavy. Like I said, I got that little Bose right there. It weighs 15 pounds, man. That's perfect for me anymore. And I'll play acoustics. I got three acoustic guitars that I play mostly. When I do play, I got a lawsuit model Takamine, the one that come out that looked like the Martins back in the late 70s. Early, I got one of them. And I've got an old 81 or an 82 Alvarez. This thing, it's not the Yari, but it's you know, it's solid top and it sounds really good. And then this is one I got here. I'll show you this one. This is one I use a lot for recording. That's a Takamine. Yeah, that's a Takamine. This guitar, I didn't really need it, but I had a good buddy that I started playing music with back in the 80s, and we became real good friends. And he ended up with diabetes. And that stuff, it finally killed him. He was 60. He died 3 years ago. And this was his guitar. And I told his wife I wanted it. because we had played and sang to that guitar so much,
Mm.
because like I told you, I played bass and guitar too and piano, and he just played acoustic and sang, and that was his number one, and I ended up buying it from her. I guess she would have given it to me if I wanted it, but I wanted to buy it, and I bought that and a few of his pedals, and I still got his guitar strap hanging around here, but I use that one here at the house mostly. It's just I keep it around. Like that.
I get it.
I got a Jackson guitar around here. Like I said, I got too much. I just had some guy come by. I had a 32 channel Soundcraft mixing board.
Yeah.
And I had to get some guy to come in to help me get it out of this room because it just leaned up against the wall. I bought a bunch of gear from a guy that was getting rid of a studio. I got patch bay routers and all. I bought the whole. He sold me the whole shooting mat, compressors and everything for $300. I couldn't turn it down.
No, you can't turn that down.
Oh yeah, I couldn't hardly get it all in my SUV for that. And I got a rack mountable dual cassette player, which I really wanted because it's hard to find a decent cassette player anymore.
That's true.
I bought that, and then I had the rack mountable CD burner. I mean, all kinds of stuff. But I had to take that mixing board too. So I had it in here for about 3 or 4 months, and I'm sitting there going, man, I'm going to keep that. Maybe I'll start a studio. I can use it again. And I finally started realizing you ain't going to do nothing with that. So I put it on Craigslist for $200. I had people fighting to get to my door, and I paid $300 for the whole shooting match of everything.
Perfect. Yeah, I can relate. I have a 24 channel mixer sitting right off camera here.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I got this computer's hooked to a little 12 channel, and my other computer over there, I got a 6 channel board on it. This one here, this computer here, I don't have an audio interface to it. I just got the board, and it's just run out of the USB into Windows 10, and it seems to do okay.
Sure.
Yeah. There's nothing to it. And like I said, this mic, if it wasn't so directional, it'd be cool. But it does, like I said, it sounds really good when you get into it and you're wanting to do voiceovers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's good for.
Yep.
But I said,
which makes sense.
Yeah, Michael Jackson did it. All the Thriller was done on the SM7B.
That's right.
That's what he's saying on. I just ordered
I think Prince was a huge fan of that mic too.
Who was?
Prince,
maybe so. Yeah.
Yeah, he was introduced to using one at Sunset Sound, and he could just sit there in the work all night right from the console room, and they just had it set up for him right in there.
Yeah. Well, what's cool about this mic too, like if you just want to record by yourself, it's so directional that you want to just record yourself playing acoustic or guitar. It don't pick up a whole lot of the acoustic. I can take the acoustic and put another microphone down there, and you won't hardly hear any bleed over into the vocal mic.
Perfect.
So yeah, it's all right for what it is. I think they run about $400 now, which is not expensive really for a studio mic. They call them podcast mics, but
they've been around a lot longer than podcasting, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Radio stations have been using them for decades too. Yeah. Last time I was in a radio station to do an interview, he's like, "You got to get up on the mic." I say, "I know how an SM7 works."
Yeah, that's the way they work. If I was really, really doing it, I'd have my mouth right here. But I think you can hear me fine right here.
Oh yeah.
Prince actually
Matthew
on the couch at Sunset Sound. He moved in until his album was finished. He looked at tell some great stories in there. Cool, yes. That's a cool story.
Yeah, there's some great videos from Sunset Sounds. They have their own YouTube channel, and they brought in a lot of people that worked in the studio back in the day telling stories. Some really good stuff there.
What mic is Doc Yang now for this?
Probably using?
I don't know. Are you Richard, are you talking about me with the mic I'm using? If you are, it's a Shure SM7B. but it's very directional. That's the whole thing about it. You can see that, you can listen to the difference in my voice as it comes across to it, and that's where its sweet spot is, right in front of it. And it's even tough when you're doing voiceover because you're going through and you'll inadvertently move just a little bit, and you'll listen to it in the playback and go, holy cow, it dropped out. You know, I mean, there's enough. Well, even in the video editing software, you can get into the audio and darken it out and bump it up a little and EQ it or whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a Shure SM7B, as in boy.
Mm-hmm.
Piano and keyboards.
Oh, anyone has any last questions? Get them in now. We'll go a few more minutes here. Yes, the look at their stuff is pure magic. I agree. Graphite and cigars.
What is it?
Thanks again, Terry, for posting the links into the chat for us. Appreciate it, as always. A little bit of housekeeping. Tomorrow night, we got Canucks with Guitars with Terry, Trev, and myself, with one, possibly two big announcements tomorrow night, so make sure to tune in for that. 1 week from tonight, we got Lawrence Petros from LPD Pedals joining us. Week after that, we got RJ Ronquillo from Nashville coming in. And the week after that, Rob Cunningham from Didario will be on. So lots of fun stuff coming up, guys.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Working.
I'm glad to see his channel going.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get with you. We'll talk about that one deal. I need to talk to you about it.
Sure.
I don't want to do it on air.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some inside baseball we do off air, guys.
Right. Yeah, we can do it through email or swap phone numbers or whatever.
Yeah, like I'm almost doing the YouTuber thing. Like, yeah, I have a big announcement, which I can't talk about right now. I hear that so many times, but literally.
Yeah, I try to hold back too. Well, thank you, graphite and cigars. I got bad eyesight too, guys. You have to accept that with me. That's what this medication's for.
Exactly. What's up, Rod Baker? He's late to the game and is enjoying his new Vola. Nice. Nice. Very cool. And of course, if you want to help support the channel, click that join button somewhere down there.
Yeah. How much is it to join?
I think it's as little as like $2 US a month for the lowest tier.
That's almost free.
Almost. Yeah, it's like those courses cheaper than a cup of coffee. You too can support a struggling guitar player.
Yeah, exactly. It's doing. There's nothing to join on my channel right now. You know, if I do anything, I may try to sell a little merch. I don't do a lot of live. You know, live's hard for me to do by myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can tell stories and things like that, but it's nice to have somebody to throw it back and forth off of. And I'd rather do that. So my channel won't do that, but I think what you're doing is the proper move to do it. You're very welcome, Devin. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had a great time. I really did.
I appreciate it. Graphite and Cigar says he upgraded his level. Yeah, there's multiple tiers because not everybody's in the same finance bracket, as they say.
Yeah. I think mine was $4.99 is what I took.
Nice.
I don't remember. I don't know.
I think that's the middle tier.
See, I had to pay Ben to make him let me come on here.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Oh, thanks for a great show, guys.
I knew Ferd. I knew you'd like a Doc's channel because like you say, you always get into the videos before me because I go to leave a comment and I swear half the time his comment is the top one right below where I'm about to leave a comment. So it's like
Doc rocks, yeah. Yeah, I think Ferd just sits over there in Texas and sits in his chair and just YouTubes all day long.
I think he does too.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I comment on your videos probably more than most channels because it's inspiring to share that story. And you had said, like, I remember you had done the short or a post about Gary Rossington, should have got, and I was like, yes, I was like, I can't tell the whole Charlotte Motor Speedway story right here, but
Right. Well, we'll get together again sometime if you want and tell more stories,
Definitely.
And that'll.
What do you think, folks? Should we do a part 2 at some point down the road? Type 1 in the chat, which gets the algorithms going.
Yeah. We'll do that. I'd be more than happy to come back if you want to do another one
Definitely.
sometime.
Definitely.
Just keep it up there. If everybody wants to listen to me and put up with me.
I have another topic that would be a good guitar player. Of course, it'll be just the fellow guitar players probably more than anything else, but you never know, is Waddy Wichell. We need a Waddy Wichell video.
Well, yeah. I have to check on some of them. I get going on certain tracks, what works and what's not working. I'm more concentrated. I'm trying to build the channel so it has enough subscribers that I don't have to worry about YouTube where the algorithms go with me.
Right.
Again, I don't do this for a living. It does make some money, it does have a high RPM, that's for sure. Documentaries is really up there,
Yep.
And they're not, I'll tell you what's good. You want to make money on YouTube? Learn to do text to voice and do travel videos. Like
right.
Anybody that wants to travel to Ontario or to Toronto, get some pictures, tell them about Toronto, make it a 10-minute video and start putting one a week out. Them things have an RPM that runs around $15 per 1,000.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, you're talking 5,000 hits and you're at $100 already. And I've seen them out there, way up in the 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 views. So, but I don't do it for the money. I think that was another thing. When I started playing, I wanted to make it in music. And then after I realized, man, this is going to be hard. It just don't happen all the time. I started playing music for money to try to make a living. And the word playing music went out and it come to working music. And I didn't like it then. I didn't enjoy it. Now, when I pick up a guitar and play, I play because I want to. When I do these videos, I just do them because I want to share a story, and I like to talk, and I like to tell stories, and I like to hear other people's stories.
Yep, I agree.
Especially about music. I like to keep that old music alive.
That's so true. And, just because you may not be familiar with an artist, chances are someone you like as an artist likes that person. Right. Especially if we go back more in a little bit of time. That's how I went on my journey, because I remember, let's say, I'm a Motley Crue fan, and they're like, well, we have nothing on the Georgia Satellites because they're real, they're doing the thing. So then I check out the Georgia Satellites, and they're like, well, we got nothing on Led Zeppelin. All right, well, who's Led Zeppelin? Check out Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I'm in 10th grade and I'm listening to Robert Johnson on cassette.
Yeah.
Because I've gone all the way back to square one.
Yeah. See, I've got a lot of guitar players that I haven't even started on. Probably someone that's in the top 10, like Hendrix. I haven't done nothing on Hendrix. I haven't done nothing on Clapton, Jimmy Page, Ron Wood, Keith Richards. I did the Jeff Beck, and I didn't even. I won't do a video just because somebody passes away. I did Beck; he did pass away, but I already had some stuff wrote on Jeff, and I had planned on doing it because I just felt like he's one of the guitar players. I'm not saying, again, it's hard how you say things on live air to people because they take it one way or the other. But my personal opinion, I think Jeff Beck is one of the greatest guitar players there ever was. I think he tops Page and Clapton and Hendrix. I think he's right up there. When I look at Jimi Hendrix, why I think Jimi Hendrix is so great is because he changed the way guitar playing was looked at. Not that he was such a great, phenomenal. I mean, Eddie Van Halen just outplays him to death. But Jimmy set the records, set the road for everybody to follow. Just like, like Scotty Moore that played for Elvis in the early years. I thought of doing a video on him. No, you watch Scotty play. Besides his finger-picking style, none of his playing was phenomenal, but it was the way he voiced it. Like Keith Richards said, when I heard Elvis, I didn't want to be Elvis. I wanted to be Scotty Moore. Yep. He set the road. These guys all set the road. Jeff Beck, he set he set the mark, but he also was after some of these guys. Don't get me wrong. He was playing along, you know, with Page and Clapton and them guys. But I'm trying to read too. Stopped playing for money when I was 26. I'll tell you what, I tried to stop playing at 26. I was just about giving it up, trying to make it big money. And then I tried to make a living at it for another 6-8 years. And that, you can't make a living at it, not out on the road. But, you know, again, it's all personal preferences. And I found when I was with regular musicians, they respected, even if they didn't agree, they still respected how other musicians felt about certain players.
Yep.
You know, real musicians are like that. Beck's Blow by Blow is phenomenal. Yes, it is.
Yep.
I got a video on Jeff Beck. We talk about a little bit about that. You know, when George Martin got him to produce him, that was Jeff Beck said himself, that was a turning point in his life. He made it possible for Jeff Beck to be an instrumentalist and be known. You know, I mean, it's just like an acoustic, like Tommy Emmanuel or Billy Strings. You don't expect them. They don't have to sing. They can entertain you with just their guitar. I mean,
exactly.
That piece that Jeff Beck did with In My Life, that Beatles song, that's phenomenal. I mean, and he is something else. There's some really good stories about Jeff. I got a book that Patty Boyd wrote that was married to George Harrison and Eric Clapton. When Jeff Beck hung with Eric and George, you know, and he was over at their house partying all the time and everything. But, you know, they all of them say he was not a heavy drugger or a drinker at all.
Right.
He'd drink wine, and, you know, he'd have a little bit of fun, but, you know, compared to like Clapton,
nothing in comparison.
No, nothing at all. You know, Eric could drink a bottle or two a day. You know, they'd have to stop him and sober him up to get him on stage.
Exactly.
Amazingly, he could still play though.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap up tonight's show. We had an amazing crowd in here tonight, I'm going to say, with tons of chat. It was just flying tonight. I want to thank you, Doc, for coming on, because this has definitely been a fun show. It piqued a few guitar players in my mind. I got to, go back and revisit a bit, and we'll definitely do another part on this one. And so hold on the line here. And I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. Special shout out to the Mod Squad for putting links and being referees, but y'all have been a great crowd in there. Back tomorrow night with Canucks with Guitars. And as always, hold those doors open. Let that lady in heady in traffic, because she needs to get there, I guess. Happy tone chasing, be good to each other. And of course, don't litter. Just don't litter. We don't need any litter.
Why do you scream at me? Why do you think that it's free? It's not a choice made by me. Won't you fall? Soon you'll see. When I looked into your eyes, I can see we need to change our lives. Let me in, then we both win. But not knowing that you're killing me. This silence is building, tearing me fearfully. This silence is building, tearing